Okay, so let's look at this assignment. On the first question, you have an ant that measures 0.0035 meters long, and they ask you to put it in scientific notation. So remember, look at the number. It's a small number. So we know, since it's a small number, it's going to have a negative exponent, and all of the answers have negative exponents, so let's see which one is the right one. So we have to move the decimal point until we make a number that's at least 1 and less than 10. So if we go from here to here, we now have created 3.5. And then how many places did we move it? We had to move it 1, 2, 3. So 3.5, move it 3 places, and since it's small, it would be a negative 3, right? So 3.5 times 10 to the negative 3 is your answer. Now remember what you know about scientific notation. You said to write it in scientific notation. Think about why you can eliminate C and D. Remember, the first number has to be between 1 and 10, so since these numbers here are both 35, for that reason right there, you could have eliminated those because it said the number's supposed to be in scientific notation. Okay, express this as a fraction, so you can just take your calculator and divide 5 by 12, and when you divide 5 by 12, what do you get? You get 5 divided by 12. You get 0.41 with the repeating 6. Alright, so it's 0.41666666, which means the 6 is repeating. So that's how you would write it. Just 0.41 and a repeating 6. So just draw a line over the 6. And there's your answer. On 3, it says between which two whole numbers is the square root of 50? Well, you could use your calculator, and if you use the calculator, and if you find the square root of 50, your calculator is going to say that it's 7 point something. So you already know that it's going to be more than 7 and less than 8. Or another way to think about it is, if you're taking the square root of 50, think about the two perfect squares that it's between. The perfect square less than 50 is 49, so the square root of 49 is 7. And the next perfect square after 50 is 64, because the square root of 64 is 8. So you know then that the square root of 50 has to be between 7 and 8. C is your answer. Asking you to find the sum of these two numbers in scientific notation. Remember how we used calculators in class when we were in school. So you could just take the calculator and just enter this number, 1.2 times 10 to the 9th power. Enter that on the calculator, and then plus 7.6 times 10 to the 8th power. Enter that. Or you could write each of these numbers in standard notation. 1.2 times 10 to the 9th is equal to this number here, which is what, 1.2 billion, and then the other number would be equal to 760 million. But if you write them in standard form, you have to just be careful about lining up the decimal, and then when you start adding the numbers together, what do you notice? You start to get 196 at the beginning. If you enter it like this on the calculator, it's just going to automatically give you your answer either in standard notation or in scientific notation. So it's 1.96, so you know it's not C. Well, if this is to the 9th power, and if that's to the 8th power, and if you add these two together, then your exponent is going to have to be at least 9. There's no way it could go less to 8. So since this exponent right here is 9, B is your answer. 5, what's the slope Which line has a slope of 1/4? Remember, slope is rise over run. So if it has a slope of 1/4, that means the rise is 1, the run is 4, so that means go up 1 and over 4. Right? So if you just, all of these lines start at the origin, so if you start here and if you go up 1 for the rise and over 4 for the run, 1, 2, 3, 4, it takes you right there to the point on that line. So you see then that line C has a slope of 1/4. If you do it again, if you go up 1 and over 4, it takes you back to the line again. So line C has a slope of 1/4. On 6, which ordered pair represents the y-intercept of the graph of this line? So if you're looking at this line, notice it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So remember, the b value represents the y-intercept. Here, the b value, since it says -3, the b value is -3. So you know the y-coordinate for this point is -3. This is +3, so you can eliminate that. That says 2, you can eliminate that. This says -2, you can eliminate that. So if the y-coordinate is -3, the x-coordinate is going to be 0. So C is your answer. And on 7, which set of ordered pairs shows the same function as this mapping diagram? So remember, on a mapping diagram, this line that goes from 7 to 3, that means that represents ordered pair 7, 3. And then from 8 to 1 represents 8, 1. And from 9 to 1 represents 9, 1. And then the last ordered pair is from 10 to 2, which represents 10, 2. So now you just look and see which one of these sets of ordered pairs matches these. Well, there's no 1, 8, so you can eliminate that. There's no 7, 1, so you can eliminate this. So this one better be right. 7, 3, yes. 8, 1, yes. 9, 1, yes. And 10, 2 matches, so C is your answer. And then on 8, it says, what's the solution to this system of equations? And they give you a clue here telling you to start by adding the equations. So if you add the terms in these two equations together, what do you notice happens with the x terms? Since these are opposites, negative x and positive x makes 0. That eliminates the x's, so that's what you want. And then what happens when you add plus 3y and minus 2y? Positive 3 and negative 2 go together to make positive 1, so that's 1y. And then when you add 1 plus 2, you get equals to 3. 1y is the same as just y. So from just adding the two equations together, we quickly know that y equals 3. Look at your answers. Here, y is 3. Here, y is -3, so we can eliminate b. But this answer C also has a y-coordinate of 3, so it's either A or C. So now that we know y is 3, we have to now find x. And remember, if we want to find x, we can take one of these equations and replace y with 3. So I'm thinking, let's just use the second one. So let's use this equation here. X minus 2y equals 2. So now that we know y is 3, we're going to replace y with 3, so it's going to become x minus 2 times 3 equals 2. And 2 times 3 is 6, so that becomes x minus 6 equals 2. And then your last step is to add 6 to both sides. And what do we get? We get x equals 2 plus 6, which is 8. So we know x is 8, y is 3. So as an ordered pair, that would be 8, 3, and that matches answer choice A. So there were 2 more, right? Okay, so on the, well, that already takes care of number 8. We just did that. And then on 9, it says, which triangle is a translation of the gray triangle? Remember, translation means just moving up and down, or moving up and down, or moving left or right. Okay? So if we start with the gray triangle and we want to translate it, well, if you go over to where this triangle is, notice it doesn't fit. It would have to be a reflection, wouldn't it, to get to this triangle? But if you go over to the right and then go straight down, what do you notice? It fits perfectly on this triangle. So what triangle is this? DEF. That matches answer choice B, DEF. So there's your answer. And then on 10, they say look at triangle DEF. So again, that's this triangle right here. Alright, so that's the one we're looking at, and they say if that is translated 5 units straight up, so that just means slide it straight up 5 units so that point F lands on the x-axis. It says where does point D land? So if you take this triangle and you translate it up 5 units, and they're telling you that that means F is going to land on the x-axis, well, let's look at point F. If you go up 1 unit, it would be right there. If you go up 2, it would be there. If you go up 3, it's there. If you go up 4, it's there. And if you go up 5, then yeah, point F went from here to here on the x-axis. But they're asking about point D. So this point right here would be F to F prime, wouldn't it? They're asking us about point D. This is point D right here, so we want to know where D prime is. So if we follow point D all the way up, then point D would land right there to become D prime. So what are the coordinates of this point? We're at 5 on the y-axis, and we're at 0 on the x-axis, so that point right there has coordinates of 0, 5, and that matches answer choice A. Alright, so check your answer, see how you did, and let me know if you have any questions on this.